Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you feeling? I hope you had your coffee and feel energized after this beautiful presentation that you just saw. So let me just jump right through it, right? So I'm here today to talk about the starting point of the presentation design. So where do we start when we design presentation? How do we choose the right colors? How do we choose the right typography? Where do we start? So you've probably been in this situation many times before. It's time to create your presentation. You sit in front of the computer, you open your PowerPoint or your presentation software, and you see this guy. Where is it? This guy. You know what that means. This is Keynote, but still. You know that feeling, right? You don't know where to start, what to do, and you just end up staring at it. Well, me, even as a designer, I've been there myself many times. But what I've discovered after creating many presentations for many different clients is that this fear of an empty slide can be avoided. And the secret is preparation work. I always say this and will keep repeating this over and over again, that 90% of the presentation design work happens before you open the presentation software, before you see that empty slide. So in this session today, I want to cover two main cases. One is for those of you who work for or own your own company with the existing brand identities, and there's maybe a brand manual somewhere there. So is that a case for anyone? Just so I can see. OK, good. And then the second case is for those of you who needs to start from scratch. So for example, if you're preparing if you need to present a personal project to someone, or you have a business idea that you want to pitch, or maybe you're even preparing to talk at the conference. So where do we start then? Well, in this case, we work with mood boards. So let's start with brand manual. When I was working in the agency many years ago, we had this term, Frankenstein deck. Do you know what that is? No? It's when different team members create a deck together. And so they would create their own slides separately, each of them using their own templates, their own colors, their own typography, and then they will put it all together, and they will present it to a client. So imagine what a deck like that says about your company. The word is chaos, right? Because actually, your presentation are an extension of your business. It's a really important touch point. It's the face of your company, especially if you're presenting to the clients. So it's really important that our presentations are clean, consistent, and on brand. And another thing to have in mind is that consistency is key. So when you're presenting to the same or new clients multiple times, ideally you want to ensure that there is consistency across all the presentation. And there is when brand presentation templates come in handy. It's not always that useful, but sometimes if you have the whole team creating slides, if they use a presentation template and after put them together, maybe then the Frankenstein wouldn't be that scary anymore. So it might be worth it to invest in one. And until then, if your company doesn't have a presentation template, we can use a brand manual to guide you. So brand manual is essentially a Bible of your company's style. It's usually created and delivered by the same brand agency or a designer that created your identity in the first place. And it contains a set of rules that you should apply to the branding. So it can be really helpful when you create a presentation. Most of the guidelines would have more or less this structure. So there is brand essence and philosophy, tone of voice and writing style, logo usage, color palette, typography rules, visual style, and if you're lucky, there would be some guidance on grids and layouts. So what I want to do is I want to go through each of these points and see what we can take from it, what is relevant to us in order to design a presentation. So let's start with brand essence and philosophy. If you have been working in the company for a while, or if it's your own company, then of course you will be familiar with the information in this section. It's essentially all about the brand. Its background, its history, mission, vision, values, all that stuff. So to demonstrate, I'm using a brand guidelines that I created for one of my clients about a year ago. It's a brandy brand. You know brandy, the drink? The brandy brand. And yeah, it says all about the brand. Where does it come from? How do they do their product? And all kind of stuff. So maybe if you're new to the company, it would be nice to check so you know where you're at and what you're representing. The next section is tone of voice and writing style. And this section is not only useful to inspire the way you write the actual text on your slide, but it can also inspire the way you speak to your clients, the way you present. Some companies, for example, position themselves as fun, playful, modern, and the others could be more elegant and sober. And so keep this in mind when you interact with your clients, because again, in that moment, you act in the representation of your company. Then we start with the visual part. First, there is a logo, of course. And as Damon just said, of course, it's not necessary to have your logo on every slide. If you're required to do so, maybe you can leave like a little icon in the corner, just in case some slides got stolen or lost. But I would personally apply it maybe to the cover slide and the closing slide. And so in this section, you will find all of the lookups and variations of the logo that is available out there. You will find also different color variations and how to apply them on different backgrounds. So it's important for them to be visible. And you will also find some useful things like, for example, safe space, which is the amount of space you should allow around the logo inside the layout so it breathes. And also minimum sizing, and my favorite is the misuses of the logo. It's all the kind of stuff that you shouldn't be doing to it, like applying shadows, cropping, distorting, and changing colors. Okay. After we have our brand colors. So these colors are the representation of our brand. Where are they? Okay. Of course, I invite you to use them, but again, in a subtle way, just like with the logos. So ideally, you would keep your presentation clean and simple and only use those colors, especially if they're bright like this, only use them as accents or for graphic elements like charts or graphs. You can see that there is a little code, the HAX code, that it's actually really useful to, before you start designing, you copy-paste this code into your PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever you're using, and you actually save them before you start. So that this way, first you ensure that you're always using the same color and the right color, and then it's always on hand, so you don't have to look for the brand guidelines all the time. We have a typography section. This is the section that would tell you what fonts to use and where to get them. So maybe there is a download link, or there's a contact of a person that you should contact to get those fonts. So make sure they're installed. And then if you're lucky, you could also have this section over here, which is a text hierarchy, which is basically an indication of the relationship between the sizes of the title versus the subtitle versus the body text and other elements. So it's not a rule to be followed very strictly. It's just an indication, but it could be a good inspiration for your slides, so you can copy it more or less if you want. And then we have visual style, the most interesting stuff. So in my example, I only have a mood board with photography, so this is the style of the photography that we should be using ideally. So it's darker tones, little red accents, and things like that. But depending on the company, you could also find the style of illustrations. You could find, if there was a custom library, the custom icons library created for your brand, you will find it there. So icons could be really useful for the presentation. And a little extra section, it's not present in every brand manual, but if you're lucky, it would be there. It's the grid templates and layout rules. So like in this example, you can see it's a piece that was created for a website. So again, it's the relationship between the sizes and the space to allow between them. So it could be nice also to apply to your slides if you want. But unless there is a specific section about PowerPoint or how their slides should be designed, you can just skip it or use it as a general inspiration. And so this is the idea, right? So we can take, it doesn't have to be all followed strictly, but we can take some information from the guidelines and use them for our presentation. Depending on the company, some guidelines I would see with 5 pages, and some of them will be 50 pages. It really all depends on how much money you pay to your brand designer. But I think you more or less get an idea. And also I'm guessing, oh my God, that transition, it wasn't mine. I'm also guessing that most of you are not designers, right? So when you create a presentation for your company, don't be afraid to reach out to your brand team or your fellow designer and ask them for help or guidance. And now, for those of you who are creating a presentation from scratch, you kind of need to come up with the same kind of rules, but for yourselves. It doesn't have to be a guideline like this, but you still need some starting point, you still need some guidance. And so for this case, I love to work with mood boards. Besides, it's super fun. So a mood board is essentially a visual framework made of visual references that already exist. So before we start designing anything, we can look at whatever is out there already, and we can create like a visual universe for our project. Something that will translate into the design. Okay? But first, we need to know what we're looking for. So step 1 is select your keywords. So the idea is that you think about your project and you come up with 3, 4, 5 different keywords that will visually describe your project. So it could be concepts like futuristic or ecologic or playful, things like that. And then we go to places like Pinterest, Dribbble, Behance, anywhere you like to get inspiration, and we collect the visual references. So I personally love Pinterest because of its ability to find similar images. So for instance, check this. If I type futuristic design, I always add the word design to my search to be able to filter the content, because as you know, on Pinterest, there is so much content. There are recipes, like outfit ideas, everything. So to be able to only see the design results, we put design into the search. And so let's say I like this image right there. It looks like a presentation, and it says futuristic, right? So you can see that below it, Pinterest automatically selects very similar images, very similar style. So if you keep clicking, you can enter an almost infinite loop of searching for references. You can get stuck there for like days, in my case. And then the idea is that every time you see an image that you like and you feel like it describes your project in a visual way, you save it into a folder in your computer. And then you keep collecting your images like that for each of the keywords. Okay? Maybe during the process you will see that you just change the style. So for example, we were saving dark images, dark backgrounds with white typography. And then maybe you end up, after all this loop, you end up saving also lighter images with softer colors. It's OK. Right now, this step is more about collecting and not so much about selecting. So you do this for each of the keywords. And ideally, you want to find some examples of typography. You want to find some examples of color palettes. And maybe some illustrations that you like, or photography, or maybe you liked some of the layouts that you see there, and you want to apply it to your slides. So you just keep collecting it all. And once you feel like you have enough, it's time to put them together in a mood board. So I'm going to demonstrate the way I do it. I'm a Mac user, so I do it in Keynote. But of course, you can do it in PowerPoint or in Google Slides, whatever you want. You can even print them and put them on the wall, like old school. But I'm going to show you how I do it, because Keynote has this little trick, which I find super useful. So I do it in Keynote in the same file that I would use after for the presentation. And I will use the very first slide for the mood board, so that this way, when I start designing the rest of the slides, I can always go back to the first one and check if I'm still within the framework. And so what I do is I create a simple square shape. I make 8 copies of it. You can, of course, make 6, 9, 12, whatever you want. And then I align it and center it within my slide. For the Keynote user, it's important that you see that I just group them to make them bigger all at the same time. But then it's important to ungroup them back again so that you can go to the next step, which is the fun part. You have your folder somewhere close, and you start, you start selecting your pictures and dragging and dropping them into the squares. All right, that wasn't an example, but you can see that it automatically crops the image and selects the part. So you can move it around, make it bigger, make it smaller, and select the one that you want to show. So in this example, the first square that you see, I had lots of other elements, but I only cropped to the purple color that I want to be showing and the round typography. And so you keep going like this, filling out the squares. You can, of course, do it manually and crop the images manually, or even don't crop them at all. And you keep going like this. At some point, you will probably see that there are some images that don't visually match the others, or that maybe something is missing. So this is also the fun part, the mix and match. You can replace them, you can add something, remove something, until you're happy with the result. You're happy with your mood board, not as a selection or collection of images, but rather as one piece of design. So you can look at it and say, yeah, that's what my project is about. It communicates that feeling that I want to communicate. And then the next step would be to extract the design elements from the mood board. So if we go back to it, you can see that all the decisions are already there. Like the color palette is already there. You can take your eyedropper from the PowerPoint and just click on each colors and save them into your palette. So the palette is there. You can go to Google Fonts or Adobe Fonts or whatever you like to find new fonts and select a similar one to this one. You can repeat some of for example, there is this round shape that separates the colors in the second image. You can maybe repeat that on some of your slides. So everything is already there. And once you have it, the only thing to do is to nail the layout. Right? So we have many people today speaking about this thing and more. So once the layout there, you have your own identity, right? There is no logo, but I think in that stage, you don't really need a logo, right? Especially if it's a personal project. Because I know many people, when they have a business idea that they want to pitch, first thing they think is, oh, I'm going to get my logo. I'm going to get my logo design. I don't really think you need it. Unless you have like an actual physical project with the packaging to apply your logo to, you don't really need it. But you will use a nice little identity, right? You have a couple of colors, you have your font, and since if you apply it consistently across all the touch points, like presentations or social media, that's more than enough. You can look as cool as the corporate guys. So that's the idea. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.